Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's WSA Speaker Chat Live. Today, we're really excited to have WSA Premier Member Sue Maitland with us. So, hi, Sue.
Hi, Tracey. Great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. And so today, it's myself interviewing along with Deb Coman, one of our leadership team superstars, and you'll see Deb on our Facebook pages as well. So thank you very much, Deb, for joining us today.
I'm excited to be here and hear what Sue has in store for us. Thanks.
You're welcome. So our topic today is the fortune is in the feedback. And, you know, you may have heard the fortune is in the follow-up, but I love the way that Sue has put this together, because ultimately, if you have the feedback, then you can do the follow-up. If you don't have the feedback, it's almost an impossible process. So we're going to be touching on that through a variety of different questions today. But first of all, I wanted to read Sue's bio. So give me a second here. All right. Sue Maitland is a speaker, workshop leader, and an ICF Certified Life and Career Transitions Coach. Sue is based in Victoria, BC, Canada, and in the 4 years since she left her successful career in IT to start her own business, she has built an international coaching practice serving professionals across Canada and around the world who are experiencing career and life transition. Sue especially enjoys working with women and men in STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. A new acronym I never heard of before, so thanks for sharing that. And helping professionals who are thinking of moving to Victoria plan and execute a smooth and successful transition. And I imagine that some of the things that we're talking about today can also potentially help people transition other places too, just different things that you're going to think about.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Now, some of the other topics that she speaks on are networking for success, finding fulfillment, and what you need to know about moving to Victoria. Sue is equally comfortable leading a small group workshop and speaking to audiences of several hundred people. Her style is interactive, and she shares her own personal experiences to reinforce her messages. And I've had the pleasure of meeting Sue in person, so I'm really excited that we were able to make this happen, Sue, and thank you so much for joining us, especially after a Labor Day weekend, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's great to be here.
Well, so let's start with the first question. So you're a speaker, workshop leader, and a coach. How do you typically divide your time between these activities?
Okay, so I do tend to hold at least 2 to 3 paid workshops every month in Victoria. And then I also have free information sessions, especially for those people moving to Victoria. Sorry about that. And I also I do one-on-one coaching, obviously, with clients. So it's kind of a combination of workshops, speaking engagements, sometimes with professional associations in the STEM world, and my one-on-one coaching. And then, of course, as you know, there's all that other everything else involved in running your own business and being an entrepreneur. So keeps me busy.
Yes, I can only imagine. And I think it's really neat that you are sort of touching the people in technology again, having come from an IT background. It's interesting how everything that you do in life leading up to where you are right now actually helps to build, moving forward.
Absolutely. And for me, actually, it's quite interesting because I did move away from that for a little while when I left the IT world. And I'm just totally enjoying reconnecting again. You know what I'm enjoying the most? Actually, it's working with young women who are in this technology field and are wanting to make a career for themselves and feeling they need some support, because it can, amazingly, 30 years after I went into it, it is still very male dominated. I'm sure you know. So I love to help those women be confident, understand all the wonderful skills that they bring to the table, and build their confidence. So it's very rewarding for me to see that happen.
That's one of the biggest parts about being a speaker, is being able to share your story, right? And having that story to share is what connects you to the people that need your help, that don't know that you are out there and providing these services. So I love that you can tap into that.
In fact, just this morning, I've been invited to speak to a group of young women at a school that's a program designed to help young women have a career in finance. This is, but again, a male-dominated field. And I'm actually going to be doing a workshop, apparently, for them on networking, which is fantastic. I just love that young people are learning really early on the benefits of networking.
Yes, it's about having that support group behind you to allow you to excel and to share information, right? It's important. So
absolutely, yeah.
So when you're talking about that, I mean, this is great that all kind of came into play within like the last 24 hours, right? Like that's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So how do you attract people to your free events and paid workshops?
Well, there's a number of different ways. I have been networking myself quite a bit since I left the IT world. So I have a really solid network here in Victoria, and I have a number of people who are absolutely very great supporters of mine and believe in what I'm doing. So every month I will send out a listing of all of the events that I have coming up. And they'll just distribute that to anybody in their world who they know might benefit, which is a wonderful way to go. I also started to, for efficiency reasons, really put my workshops and retreats up on Eventbrite. And I have to say that a number of people find me just by going on Eventbrite and looking around and coming across something that interests them. And Eventbrite does a nice job of, once they found something you like of yours, they'll show all the other things that you do. So that's definitely something that I think about. I'm actually also a member of Tourism Victoria. It ties in with the whole idea, because many people before they move to Victoria will come to Victoria year after year after year and then be really sad when they have to go home. So my goal with that is to try to catch them, when they're here, and spend some time with them and actually support them in getting clear on, well, what would it take to move here? I made that move 25 years ago. I've never once, especially this time of year when the winter's on the horizon, wished I was back in Ottawa. I don't miss the snow. Now, some people find they want the snow and they miss that in Victoria, but it's not a problem for me. I can handle. The snow is on the mountain, as my husband says, and we can go to the mountain if we want it, but we don't want it in the driveway. And that's the beauty of most of the time. We have our moments, though. We had a few snowfalls last year, but so Tourism Victoria is another way, because the information centre will tell people about this. I actually have a rack card there. And then one of the other things that we're going to talk about, I guess, is this fortune and the feedback that I actually get permission to tell people who've come to my workshops about what's coming up through the feedback form. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Lots of different ways.
Social media as well?
I do. And I must confess, Tracey, that I don't do it as well as I could. Although, interestingly enough, people sometimes say, hey, you're everywhere. And I think, okay, that's great. But definitely that's an area that I want to work on. So we're going to have a chat about that, I think, haven't we?
For sure, definitely.
But yes,
and you said, like you said, you're on LinkedIn and you do reach out to potential participants there.
I have to think, so my audience, really for me, LinkedIn is a really good source for people who are professionals in transition. Mm-hmm. So I find that works really well. Facebook is probably more for my events, and I do publish on the events. And then we have all sorts of, Victoria is an amazing city. If for those who've heard it's for the newlywed and the nearly dead, not true. We have so many people who are choosing to be here for quality of life way before they retire. And frankly, it's competitive to get people to come to your events, because you could have 15, 20 choices of things to do every single night of the week. It's incredible. So I'm on all the event listings as well. So that's another way to get people. And the other thing is Twitter. I am tweeting, and I can do more on that. I haven't ventured in actually yet to Instagram, which I think might work with what we're going to talk about a little later, some of the culinary retreats.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that. So I'm as we're listening to this, because obviously our membership is global, it's all over the world, but I want people to kind of listen to what Sue has to say. It might be something that you can do for your local area and helping others transition into where you live, right? Because it's not, and maybe it's something that you can reach out to Sue about and ask how she's going about it, because there might be some really good synergy there. So I think that would be fabulous. Now I'm just going to reach out to Deb and see who's following us right now. Anybody who's watching, any comments along the way?
I'm not seeing any comments just yet, but we do have people following us along on Facebook. And if you're tuning into us there, you're going to see us either on the Facebook business page or in one of our groups, our free associate group or our paid premier group, because we're broadcasting live in all of those places so that we can get Sue's message out to as many of the people who follow us or are members with us. So I will keep you posted. If you have a question or you want to drop in the chat, let us know where you're calling from. We'd love to give you a shout out here on the show.
Perfect. And definitely, even if you're coming back and you're watching the replay, please go ahead and put where you're listening from, because I think it's really important for us to really find out where people are around the world. So we're going to move into, what the topic is for this particular speaker chat. It's the fortune is in the feedback. And can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe, frankly, we can all learn. Every time we do something, we can always tweak it and do it a little bit better. So asking for feedback on any speaking engagements or workshops that I've done has just been part of my business. I have to tell you that when I first started, I had some rules that I set for myself. I thought that I wanted people to be completely honest, so I didn't even ask them to put their name or any contact so that they could tell me truly what they thought. I even used to tell them, I want you to pretend that you're not Canadian. I want you to tell me what you really think about this. So I had this information, but sometimes I'd have information that I didn't understand what the comment was, and I couldn't even get back and ask them for more details because I deliberately didn't ask them for their contact information. And I realized that's crazy. These people have wanted to share something, and there was tremendous value in asking for that feedback and connecting with them and continuing to stay connected. So I developed a feedback form that really does. It has two purposes. It is designed for them to tell me in much less, share whatever they want to share. Because I used to have a form that was like a full page and it had 10 questions. How was the speaker's voice? Did you like the venue? And people had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, and very rarely would they say anything. Now I have a very simple form. I know you can't see from there, but I have a back of the form and I have a front of the form. But the back of the form is where the feedback comes. And I simply ask them, what did you enjoy the most? And I let them tell me what they enjoyed the most, and then what could have been better, because there's always things that could be better. And it leaves it up to them to share, as opposed to me prescribing. Everybody loves to share their opinion on things. We all like to do that. So the participants appreciate that they're being asked for their feedback, and I tell them it's because I want to make this better. It's the truth. And I do tweak some things sometimes. For example, my Networking for Success, it was a 2-hour workshop, and people said, we want to actually do some networking with each other at the end of this. So I've changed it to a 2.5-hour workshop because they were so excited about networking. They wanted to practice. So it was very cool. So that's the back of the form. And then sometimes there's a support call, which is part of my workshop. So I ask them as well, give me some times. What are the best times for me to call you, so that I'm not doing a whole bunch of back and forth? I get a sense that Monday nights is good for them. It's just much more efficient in terms of arranging that follow-up call. Mm-hmm. But it's the front of the form that really changed things for me. So you can see here there's a long list of questions there. And at the very top is the most important: your name, your email, and your phone number. Now, often I'll have the name and email, but I won't have the phone number if I'm with Eventbrite, if they've come through Eventbrite, because they only capture the email. So that's important information for me. And then I just simply ask them a series of questions. So, for example, I offer the first step of working with me as a coach is something called a personal discovery coaching package. And for me, I will never sign someone up for a big package until I know if I'm the right coach for them, if they understand what coaching is, if how I works for them. So there's a small little starter package, if you like, that's a standalone package. It's $250, and I give them the chance, as long as they tick the box that day, they can actually get 50% off. So I give them a real incentive to make that investment in themselves. So that's the first one. So the first question is, I'm in. He says, I'm in. Sign me up for the one-on-one discovery package. Check the box. Okay, you get it for half price. And then I have an online What's Important to Me Now workshop. Again, I give them a chance to get that for 50% off for a limited time if they check the box. And then the other questions are all related to some of the other services and workshops that I deliver. And it's not like, do you want to come? It's I know someone who may benefit from attending the Networking for Success. Check the box. Okay. And please send me the link, it says, basically. So just by asking these things, and of course, one of the most interesting things that I've added is I know a group, organization, or business who might be interested in having you come and speak to them. And then I list the topics that I speak on. So right away, I've got places that I can follow up and get speaking gigs. So it's just really changed things for me. It's been a great source of referrals, of speaking opportunities, and it's something that I wish I'd been doing, that way from the beginning, because it isn't just about getting the feedback. It's also about taking that valuable information and building those relationships and keeping in touch with those people. So so it's a simple thing to do, and I've never had anybody object to doing it, and everyone, I get some people who just put their name here and they skim this and don't, but everybody writes something, even if it's like, great, can't think of anything else to, and the beautiful thing is quite often that is the comment, which is lovely. So
the form's a great idea, and I love the shape of it. I love that it's not this full 8.5 by 11 portrait piece of paper. The fact that it's just that different just shape, simple. Right? It just makes people maybe want to look at it. It might fall out somewhere and they'll be able to pull it back up. I also like you were talking about being contacted to present that workshop, and this sort of falls under that. Who do you know, or associations do you know that would benefit from having me speak to them? So that potentially could have come from one of these feedback forms too.
Absolutely, because you don't know all the different connections that they have, and it's worked out very well for me. So I think, and I just print these off. I tweak it a little bit. Sometimes if I've got a new event coming up, I might put that on and offer a promo code for that if I want to. So I just print some of these off just immediately before the workshop when I have a sense of how many people are registered, and works really well. I get to keep the forms. They don't get to keep them. What they get is an email from me with the links,
right,
and any promo codes that they've asked for.
Oh, that's good. Now, this is actually a great time to put out the question. So anyone that's either listening in right now or watching right now or later on, how many of you have a feedback form when you're doing your presentations, your speaking engagements, your workshops? It could potentially be, we could do this in electronic mode. So people that have attended one of your, info sessions online, a webinar, or something along those lines, and you could send them a message afterwards asking them for the feedback. I would love to know if anyone is doing that currently, or maybe they're like Sue, and I know I've done this before, especially when you're first starting out. It's like you're afraid to ask. You're afraid to ask for what you want and what you need. You want to be nice about it, but it doesn't actually help you or anyone else out if you don't have contact information so that you can follow up on the feedback.
Exactly. And I find that people enjoy being able to share this. I mean, part of networking is trying to help other people, isn't it? That's really that's the core of networking. It's not about selling yourself. It's about connecting with other people and trying to see how you can possibly help them. And then somewhere down the road, they may do the same for you. So this is really what I'm asking. I'm inviting them to help someone else by completing this form so that they can share it. And it's a win-win.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now,
I'd love to give a couple shout outs if I could.
Please.
We're always on a delay with Facebook, so thanks to you who are watching us there, and keep the comments coming. I'll be checking back in. We have Sherry Randolph tuning in, Patricia Frame, Mary Wolfberg Havacek, I believe I'm hopefully saying that right, Stix, Angela Adams, and sorry if you don't go by that, but whatever you have as your handle for Facebook is all that we can see on our end. So welcome, welcome. They're tuning in from all over, and we have a whole lot of shares. So if you're finding us on our page, you can share this out. If it's in the group, obviously you can't share from the group. So we'd love you to go back to our Facebook page and share Sue's speaker chat live so more people can hear this message. And I will be checking back in to see who, in fact, does have a feedback form, or hopefully you're just tuning in so you can learn about how to structure yours in a way that grows your speaking business.
And I really, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over. I'm certainly happy to share, with anybody if they want to give me a call and just tell them how I went about doing it. One of the other beautiful things is, of course, once you've got this feedback of what they enjoyed the most, this is fantastic marketing material. So when somebody's trying to decide whether to sign up for an event, they really want to know, well, what's the experience going to be like? It's no good I can tell them how great it is. But when other people say things like, it was a warm and friendly atmosphere, I really enjoyed the authenticity of the workshop leader, great handouts, so glad I came. Those are genuine comments that I've received, and I just put them up there, and it makes a huge difference in terms of my credibility and reputation, and also people deciding, I'm going to put my money down and make a commitment, and of all those things I could be doing in Victoria, I'm going to come to Sue's workshop.
Yeah. Well, those testimonials, really lead us in the direction of either taking the next step or not, right? It's kind of like reviews on travel websites and so forth, is that you look to what others are saying, and if you're connecting with the wording and the presentation, then you are going to more likely take the next step. So having that information, and if I don't know because I can't exactly see your feedback form, but even asking them if it's something that you can put on your website too, right? There might be some specific ones, and in that case, I think that what you would do if you aren't already is just contact them and say, I'd love to use your testimonial. Is it okay if I do? Because sometimes
Absolutely.
when they're filling them in on the feedback form, you may not be giving you that permission to put it out for everyone, but
Absolutely.
It also gives you another opportunity to touch bases and build the relationships, right?
So I do ask, I will ask them, and I generally don't put the names. So I just put this is feedback that I've received from, from the workshops, but I do always reach out. Yeah. And most people, I haven't had anybody say no. So it's all good.
Well, no, if they're filling out the phone, they've already committed. I think that's the other thing, is that by filling out the feedback form, they're kind of committing in a way of saying that, like, the content was really good, and I want to let you know that it is, and I did find it valuable. And it does open it up. It just opens that door a little bit more, obviously, just to touch base again and continue to build up that relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So moving on, what have you done with the front of the form that has made the difference? Now, you've touched on it. I would probably touch a little bit more, but this might be, I'm kind of reading through some of your responses, and we kind of already touched on that. So
I think it's important it's okay. I think the key thing is frame it as a question, or frame it in a way that it's an invitation to, for me to send them something so that they can help someone else. It's putting it in that, it's not saying, do you need to come and attend? And that really makes it easier for them to say, yes, please send me it, because everybody pretty much knows someone that they'd like to help. So I think that would be the key thing to recommend.
That is definitely a key point, because you're right.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like, do you know somebody that could benefit? Like it
might
does.
Be them.
Well, exactly.
It might be someone else.
And sometimes they go, well, wait a second, I could benefit from this, right? And like, I can share it with someone else, but I can benefit from it. But you're right, when you put it like directly, like, can you benefit from this? Like, not me.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes it more of an invitation, to think about it. And one of the things in particular, I think, is the mini self-care retreat that I do. I do a little one it's every other month now on a Monday night, and it's just a fun thing. And so often they'll go, I want to come, and I want to bring my friend. So, it's a chance to share. So cool.
Beautiful. So we're going to move through some of the questions, because we actually got quite a few answers in the first one, or first couple. So
I talk a lot.
no, it's awesome. I mean, it flows great. I love the explanation of the different ways that you use the feedback form and how to present things in the question, and maybe, present them with a special offer that is, if they check that box today, then they get the opportunity to take advantage of a special, especially the information finding type sessions, which I also agree. When I'm working with clients, I always do, and I think Deb as well, we always do kind of that information strategy type session to make sure that we're all a good fit, and that we're speaking the same language and we can relate, and it's going to be a positive experience for everybody, because ultimately we're all there to help each other out. So I love that. So I'm just looking at some other questions here. So if there's one thing in your business that you could do over, what would that be?
I guess that would be my my notion that I could build a coaching practice around coaching seniors. I actually became a kind of a celebrity, if you like, amongst the senior population in Victoria, and I was invited to speak for free all over the place. I presented to 500 seniors once on what you need to know before you move, and I just decided I wanted to set aside IT for a bit, and I wanted to do something different. And I was actually dealing at the same. It was a weird thing, actually. I'm going to share here. Have you ever been through a point in your life where you've got something not so good happening and something really good happening at the same time, and it's just it's so hard to deal with? Well, I was dealing with my dad. My dad had been diagnosed with a terminal illness, and so I was dealing with him passing, and also discovering that coaching is exactly what I should have been doing. It's my passion, and I love it, and it feels natural and so beneficial. So I think because Dad was passing, I wanted to help other seniors, because I realized as well that had I had my coaching skills, I could have had a different relationship even with my dad and helped him. I was close, but I could have helped him with some of the stuff that he was struggling with. He didn't always appreciate how wonderful he was. He was always thinking about what he hadn't done, as opposed to celebrating the difference he had made in so many people's lives. So that's my regret. And so I think this emotion led me to think that I would serve seniors. So I got a column on a seniors magazine in Victoria, and I was writing all these wonderful ideas. But as far as clients go, I was getting exactly zero, because seniors will take all the free information sessions, but the idea of paying someone to be a coach to help them get clear on what they should do is just a little outside of their comfort zone. They just can't really relate to it. However, I did pick up a few clients when their sons and daughters would bring mum and dad, and they'd go, well, I need a coach. I could do with getting some clarity on what I want for the rest of my life. But it was quite a detour. And then what ended up happening was I had to actually distance myself, because people were saying, well, I love that I won this coaching session with you, but I don't know any seniors to give it to. And I said, no. you can enjoy it. Really? So anyway, I went back to my roots, and I realized that I do actually enjoy working with people in IT, and I understand the challenges that they have in that profession, men and women, actually. And so I started connecting with local organizations and so on, and now I have a thriving coaching practice, helping men and women in that field. But I'm also loving this niche around helping people move to Victoria, because it's a beautiful city, but it is a little, it's not the most open, shall we say. It takes a while to build relationships and to figure out how the city works. So I heard about a lot of people who actually had not such a happy time coming here. It is beautiful, but it wasn't as friendly, shall we say, as they were used to in other cities. So I wanted to do something about that and help them. And it's been fun. I love what I'm doing, and I get chocolates from people and thank yous, and I'm so glad. And other people saying, actually, I get people, interestingly enough, the Networking for Success in Victoria was designed specifically for newcomers, but probably 50% of the people who come are actually locals who've been here for many years, but perhaps are starting a business and haven't done any networking. They've been busy on their whatever that job was, and they're now going to create this new life for themselves, and they come in and they want to learn those skills too. So it's quite interesting how you have one intention, but it ends up serving other people too. Yeah.
What a wonderful story you shared. And thank you so much for sharing it. We feel honored that you shared that with us.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got a bit emotional.
Oh,
Oh, gosh.
we all do. And that's just the beauty of being real when you show up to share your message. And I think it just illustrates so beautifully how you were able to find something that you were really passionate about. And that's what really always is what drives us to be the best that we can be. And I think you talked a lot about that using what you're practicing, which is the feedback, that if you're working in a niche that doesn't seem to be working, when you're aware and you're paying attention, you're better to pivot to something that maybe, you know, if you're trying to build a business. And you've just given us that example several times over where you have used the feedback to change your path or tweak your path. So thank you. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Deb. I appreciate it. I didn't know I was going to get all emotional today. But it just happens sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and your dad's an inspiration, and even though you took a bit of a detour, it doesn't mean that was the wrong path. It was the right path to determine what your next steps should be.
Absolutely. And I did learn a lot about speaking to big groups. I can actually say I have spoken to large groups, and I can do small group workshops. So, I mean, there was a lot of good. I truly believe that there is something beneficial in everything that happens, even if it isn't quite what we'd hoped for or expected. There are so many valuable lessons if we choose to look at it that way. And so keep the good, and then let the other, just leave that behind and take the good that you learn from it. That's my belief anyway.
Exactly.
It seems to work.
We're seeing some nice comments too in the topic threads where you're broadcasting it to our groups. We have Paula Kramer, who's actually watching in our brand new Premier Members Only Facebook group. So she's dropping her comment in there, and she said that she does have a feedback form. She loves what you're sharing, and she's going to be revising hers, I think, she said, based on some of what she's hearing. So that's exactly what we hope to hear. I also see Vanessa Davis Griggs watching in one of our Facebook groups. And we have a question about whether I'm not sure exactly how this relates to yours so much, but are you paying for event space? So they may have also been asking the general group, but that's a good question in terms of investing in when you are.
Sure.
If you wouldn't mind sharing.
So for me, obviously when I get invited to speak by an organization, generally speaking, they'll provide the space. Something that really changed my business and elevated my business was actually joining the Union Club of BC. It is a club. It used to be a men's only club. They let us women in the 90s. And now I'm happy to say that I think we have equal numbers of men and women. And my husband, as my spouse, gets to use the gym. Isn't that lovely? So the Union Club, though, in BC has a wonderful set of small meeting rooms that are just ideal for small group workshops. And when you're a member, there's a very attractive price. I mean, it's ridiculous almost, and I don't want to broadcast that. There might be a lot of people. Well, I guess I just did, but it has made a difference for my business. I find so it's economical, so I can put on a small group workshop at a very reasonable price. I can do these lovely self-care retreats, as I mentioned, once a month or every other month now, and we include a buffet supper at the Union Club, which everybody loves. And the other thing is, I think visitors love to come to the club. It feels like, the doors close. You have to say that you're a guest of Sue Maitland, and then you can come in. So those kind of things have really made a difference. So that gave me the flexibility to not always have to pay the meeting space and then worry about, can I fill it up, So I really encourage everybody to try to find somewhere where you can do that. Now, I also have businesses. So for example, a lawyer out on the West Shore, we have the downtown area, which is where I am doing most of my work, but the West Shore is growing in Victoria, and she offered up her meeting space. I was in a meeting and I said, well, perhaps do you think will people come from the West Shore to downtown? And they said, they may not. So I said, well, I guess I got to find a reasonably priced meeting space on the West Shore. And this lawyer said, well, actually, you can use my office if you want to have a workshop there. So sometimes you just have to put it out to the universe of what you need, and it will come to you. So it's very interesting.
That's where you use your networking too, right? When
Well,
you're
yeah.
when you're sharing what it is that you need and what it is you have to offer, it's more likely that these opportunities are going to come your way that may not have otherwise. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. And there's a lot of different businesses that do have, smaller boardrooms that, you could definitely ask them. I mean, if as long as
Yeah.
somebody's on site, they usually are totally fine with it. So if you don't
Absolutely.
ask, the answer's always no, right?
You, good point. Yeah, exactly. And I've learned to just explore possibilities.
Yeah.
That's the key. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love exploring possibilities. So we are coming to almost the end here, and you made a mention, and Deb and you and I were talking earlier about this new program that you're putting into play, and it's culinary, dealing with food and life and so forth. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Thank you. I'd love to do that. Yeah, I'm very excited. I've had this dream that, when you come on vacation, wouldn't it be wonderful if not only did you have a fantastic visit, but it could actually be life-changing. It was a chance for you to explore something that and take away something that could potentially help you live in a better rest of your life. So I know local chef Shirley Lang. She also has her own culinary exploration business called Spirits Culinary. I've got to get the right excursions. She's been doing this for years. We've admired one another. We've experienced each other's services, and she and I started talking about collaborating. So actually, what we're doing now is we are putting together 1 day and 2-day weekend retreats in some case, where there'll be a workshop component, so people will either be practicing self-care, or they will be understanding what fulfills them, or they may even be doing some pre-retirement kind of lifestyle planning, not financial planning, but what do you actually want to do with that time when you retire, or in most cases semi-retire. And then in the afternoon, Shirley's going to take them on this amazing culinary adventure. So we're so excited about the possibility. It's something new. It hasn't been done before, and I think we're actually going to be talking to Tourism Victoria later on this afternoon about it, so it's kind of exciting. And I'd like to make a special offer to any of the ladies who are listening, and anybody who goes on tomorrow. I will go on you tell me what it is, Tracey, tomorrow.
So in our Facebook group, under our Wednesday post, it usually comes out under my name. So it's WSA Get Paid Wednesday, and it's where you can put the information about your upcoming event. And yeah, you're going to share a little bit of a
promo code
for us.
I have one of these. The very first one that we're putting together is this at the end of September. And so if you would love to come to Victoria and have this amazing experience, find out what fulfills you, have a culinary retreat with delicious food and wine, and my support as well when you get home to implement what you've learned. I will send you a special code. I'll put it up there, and we'd love to see you here in Victoria. It's going to be a really special weekend.
And it's going to be a beautiful time of year to come to Victoria too, because the BC coast is experiencing better than normal weather.
Just a little.
Or extra warm for us.
Yes,
but it would be a lovely time for people to
perfect.
Join in. So
perfect.
And I'm all about the culinary and wine and so forth. So.
It's one of my favorite things. Why not put the two together, right?
Right, that's perfect. And the other great thing about that is you're bringing like-minded people together. There's that potential for them to network as well as learn more about themselves and how they can be more fulfilled and how they can take the next steps to move on to the next stage of life, depending on what your topic is going to be. So I think that's awesome. So I'm going to step back to Deb real quickly. Any other shout outs we want to make? Otherwise, we're going to just ask one more question of Sue.
Yeah, we do have a couple of shout outs, and also just collaboration is probably one of our favorite words at Women Speakers Association. So we'd love to hear how you're growing your business, and you gave us so many tips and strategies about how to collaborate and how to tap into resources that you have. Some people tuning in that I had mentioned yet, we have Deborah Prophet Walker, who tuned in, Catherine Hayes, Lisa Danforth, a number of our premier members who are liking, sharing, commenting, saying that this is really helping them. So thanks so much, Sue.
That's great. Thank you. So glad I You invited me. I really appreciate it. And as I say, if any of you want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to chat with you about what I'm doing and understand more about what you're doing and yeah, just collaborate. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fabulous. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be lots of collaboration happening here. Like I said, just even learning what you're doing and being able to put into play in their areas, or how they can support you, or maybe ends up being something new that you do, right?
Yeah, you never know.
Train the trainer. All right,
yeah.
So we're coming to the end. We would love to find out how we can learn more about you. I don't know that you necessarily you can put your phone number on or not. So if you maybe want to send people to your website, whatever you think is best, but please go ahead and share anything that you want to share.
Yeah, so I think probably the best way, I have got a bit of a crazy week ahead, so just go to my website, which is suemaitland.com. And you will, there's a contact button there. So you just send me a little message, put your name, say, I heard you on Speaker Chat, I'd love to chat more about, how I can put feedback or anything. Frankly, it doesn't have to be about the feedback forms. If there's anything that I've shared that you'd like to learn more about, or that you feel I could support you in, I would be delighted to arrange a time for us to have that chat. So yeah, Perfect. So that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. When you and I kind of talked earlier in July, and oh, there you go.
They'll have to wait.
Yes.
Call from G. Turning 10.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It won't stop. I thought I turned it off.
Turning 10.
Okay.
That's okay. We're coming to the end. You're popular.
Call from G. Turning 10.
She's a determined woman, and I know who she is. Anyway.
Perfect. All right. So that's okay. We are definitely going to,
it's live.
It's live and live. That's okay. It's how you go with the flow that counts, right? It's all about overall presentation skills and everything else, which is awesome. Now, we'll put your email or your website into the comments below, and we invite you to share this out to your network as well. And keep an eye on any of the comments that might come in afterwards, because we find a lot of times people will come back and listen in or watch at a later date. So
lovely.
Thank you again.
Thanks so much. And Sue's website is dropped in the comments where this video is, and we'll go back in, like Tracey said, and we put more information and give people even a little bit more now that you've finished sharing. And we hope that everyone will do just that. Leave more comments for our Women Speakers Association, for Sue. Share it out if you're watching on the recording. And, support our Premier membership like Sue to get her message out. And if you're looking at her thinking you'd love that to be you and you're a Premier member with us, reach out and join us. And we'd love to be able to feature you so that you can get your message heard in an even bigger way. Sue, this has been great, really awesome. And I love feedback, and I don't do a good enough job of getting it formally sometimes. So I definitely took a lot of notes for my own follow-up to do better with that.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you
I agree.
For everything you did, Deb. You did a great job with all the questions.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's so fun. Tracey makes it easy. Tracey's got all the pieces moving in the background, so it's just
teamwork. It's teamwork and collaboration, and so this is like Deb said. I've got notes all over the place too, because ultimately there's just so many things that sometimes things are obvious. They're so obvious that we don't even acknowledge them, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, how did I miss that? So I think that's a lot of what you shared today is for some people that are watching, I know myself included, is, oh wow, I never thought of that, or maybe never thought of going maybe to that much detail, even though you're not requesting that they put a lot of information out there, but you're still collecting that information. So now, wonderful. Well, you have the most amazing month, and we will be connecting very soon.
Okay,
so take care, everybody.
Thanks,
once
everyone.
again, if you know of anybody that would find some value from our speaker chat today, please go ahead and tag them or share this with them. We would really appreciate that, and I think they'll thank you as well. So thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Tracey.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Deb. Bye, everyone.
Bye.